Wednesday, winners. It is our favorite day of the week, and you are now tuned in to the Ladies in Motion podcast, Talk It Out, where we shine light on women that's winning in the local community. I'm your host, Madam Walker, and I'm super, super excited to shine light on today's winning lady, y'all. She is a Texas native, born and raised in the state of Texas, and she's been making motion in Atlanta since 2014. She is a business and personal development strategist, speaker, and award-winning facilitator with 15 years of experience of business, leadership, and people development. She is the founder of Business Rewired, where she equips entrepreneurs with tools to build sustainable, scalable businesses through strategic roadmaps that turns vision into action. And our Ladies in Motion word of the week this week is action. So get into it, okay? And clarity into cash flow. Okay, she's a proud boy mom of two. She's building a legacy with intention and proving that motherhood and entrepreneurship can rise together. And tonight, you'll get the inside scoop on her story and how she got started and her success. Ladies and gentlemen, I need you all to welcome Shatora Ladorne to the show. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Thank you so much. I cannot wait for this. When I read that in your bio, you turned vision into action. I was like, okay, that's the word of the week. So I can't wait to just really get into it. You know, I was on your website, doing a lot of research, getting prepared for this moment. So I just really can't wait to shine light on you and what you've been doing and getting to know you and putting you before someone else that possibly needs what you have to offer. Okay. You are so welcome. Of course. So do you have anybody that you would like to shout out before we get going? It could be a business mentor, a coach, a partner, your family, your sons. It could be whoever before we get going.
Ooh, it's always a shout out to God. Always a shout out to
First
God.
and foremost.
But to all of the aspiring entrepreneurs who feel like they have gotten to a place where they need more action, where they need to gain some traction, shout out to you. Keep going, keep pushing, keep doing what you do.
Thank you. And this platform literally was created for that. So when I found out what you did, I'm like, okay, good. This is exactly like we need her on the show because there's so many people that has started a business blind. You know what I mean? Just not really knowing exactly what to do just because maybe in the middle of the pandemic, everyone's like, you ain't got no LLC. You know, you losing. So everyone started an LLC. And then a lot of us just don't know, what do I do from here? So to know that you teach people the game to build a scalable business, you know, I was like, okay, this is what the people need. So I'm super excited to have you today. I wanted to give a shout out really quick to Alicia Smith. She is a attorney out of the Central Florida area. She's the one who gave us the word of the week today, and she is a productivity and accountability coach. So I just gotta, shout out to my girl. She's always willing to collab, make content, and she is an example of this Ladies in Motion platform is a area for community, not competition, and collaboration and not competition. So shout out to Alicia, and shout out to you. I'm super excited. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I like to start these interviews allowing to just taking it back to the beginning and allowing myself and my audience to get to know my guests. We mentioned that you were born and raised in Texas, but I do like to ask, okay, when you were first coming into adulthood, about to graduate high school, 18, 19, whatever the age was, I feel like that's where, well, I know me, I speak on me. I just thought I just knew it all, had it all figured out. So I just want to ask you, what was life like for you at that time? Is what you're doing now what you envisioned for yourself then? Or did you have a different plan and somewhere along the line you had to pivot? Tell me about the early stages of adulthood.
Oh, man. So my life was planned out since I was about 4.
You one of those. That's what I said. You one of those. A planner to the T.
Yes, I thought.
Okay.
So you could not tell me that I was not going to be some famous star. I was in a singing group, the whole 9. You couldn't tell me that by around 16, 17 that I wouldn't be dropping out of school, homeschooling, on a tour bus, and on some massive tour with, the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and all of them. And then probably retired by 26. Mm-hmm. And then doing a reunion tour by 30. So that's what my life was supposed to be.
All right. Okay, so you had that plan, which is great that you're sharing, because a lot of us maybe are watching this, especially in, I won't say everybody, but we got so many talents and gifts, so that's always the first one that you like want to use. So I'm not even surprised. Okay, so that was the first plan.
Yes, that was the first plan. So after that, oh gosh, there's a whole long story. If you pick up my book, CEO Rewired, you get to hear the story about going into music. But shortly after, I did go to college. Mm-hmm. I went to school to also do radio, which was amazing. So music was pretty much my life from the beginning. I didn't realize that was actually prepping me to become a teacher, a facilitator, and think with a lot of strategy. So where it has led me to now is being very strategic in the things that I do, and also having that balance of creativity as well. So it looks nothing like what I thought it was going to, but I am beyond happy for what I've turned out.
So when you had that dream, just because, we hear stories of people who maybe were in college and decided not to go to college so they can pursue acting or whatever full time, especially in Hollywood. That's something that we see when we look at their stories and their interviews. And I'm an interview girl, obviously. My favorite people, even if they're not my favorite person, I love just hearing people's story, to what got them to where they are now. So I have to ask, you mentioned that you went to college, Liberty University, right? And was that always, did you want to go to college, or was family members maybe encouraging you to do that? Was there a counselor? What made you say, I am going to go to college, even though I want to pursue a different dream,
College was one of those things that it was just what you were supposed to do. And aside from just being what you were supposed to do, it made sense to not waste time from what I thought, right? I'm out of school. If I'm at someone's job, then I have to at least be getting some sort of education. But I was a DJ then, so I was actually pursuing what I wanted, but we hear it all the time. You have to have the good career. You have to also make sure that you're very well educated.
Right.
And so I thought college was what I needed. And I have my degree in psychology, and I guess I guess strategy and psychology come from that. But it definitely is not the main factor in my success now.
So being a DJ, because I was going to ask you, did you have people around you, like people in your family? I have a plethora of questions now. Were they educated, that they go to college and they were pushing on you, or were they not? And that's why they were like, no, you have to go to college. So I want to know that. And then I want to ask, as far as entrepreneurship goes, when you're a DJ, that's being an entrepreneur. You make your own schedule. You have to book your own self. You set your own rate. You know what I mean? And then you have to figure out your value. You can charge $50, but it take more work. So no, the fee is $250. Okay. So that's when I just introduced into business. But tell me how you got into DJing. Was that before you went to college, or that's like a skill that you already had and you were doing it through college? I would just like to know that, because as I mentioned, y'all, she's a business and personal development strategist. She's a coach, a teacher, so from DJ to that, I'm just so curious to know how you even landed in a DJ role. And then from DJing, when did you start to take it deeper in the business world, because you already in entrepreneurship doing that.
Absolutely. So I did not grow up with a lot of people who were entrepreneurs around me, or at least I didn't know that they were entrepreneurs. There were always the women that were around that were side hustlers, right? My mom had the candy house. A couple of her friends sold the bras and the knives and the different types of sets. And so I didn't see that as entrepreneurship until really just now.
Right.
So I didn't have those people. As far as school, I did have a few aunts that went to college, but it was never one of those things that was just pushed upon me.
Okay.
It's just what felt like I was supposed to do.
Right, and I get that.
And so after high school, our singing group broke up. Right. We had the opportunity to go work with a major record label. We fumbled it. by not knowing how to go make $250. And so if we would have known how to go make $250 to get some studio time, we would probably actually have succeeded in music. But I say all of that to say music brought me into this world where everything was about strategy. Everything was about building a business at its core. And so I got into different rooms. I was working with many major companies that were essentially wanting my creativity when it came to music and writing, but also they wanted my strategy behind the scenes. So I would get asked all the time, hey, how do you do this? How do you think we should do that? And it just turned into me going into a space of many people asking me what I do to then starting to ask me, oh, how much does it cost to? And I'm like, oh.
Right? I mean, because the numbers behind this thing. Okay.
So I wasn't charging really at first. It was the $50.
That's how it goes,
you know. That's what I want to do. But yeah, it definitely turned into the ask. And once it turned into the ask, it was like, okay.
I love it. What do they call it? Supply and demand. There we go. Supply and demand. So what you had and possessed, people needed it. You know, they seen that as an asset and a value. So I love that for you. And I just want to know, since you didn't really, what was your plan once you graduated college? Okay, like you made the move to Atlanta in 2014. Was that after college?
Far after.
Okay, so I would like to know, like, before you even made that move, because then we're going to get into where you are now and what you're doing, because you're in motion and action. I just want to ask, what was that time in between, like after graduating college and then making the move to go to Atlanta? Like, what were you doing? Was it a trial and error period? Was it trying to figure out what you were going to do? Was it maybe graduating and then working for someone for a while and be like, no, let me get back to this entrepreneurship? I'd really like to know where your headspace was during that time and then before your move, because that's a big step.
So actually at that time, I was full-fledged into motherhood.
Okay.
I had my oldest son when I was 20.
Okay.
And me and his father were together all through high school sweethearts, all of that good stuff. And so you just expect that the world is coming together. Was still doing music then. So after I graduated, I was still doing music. I was still a DJ, all of that. I had my second son. Me and his father, we were married. I had Mario at 26. Yes. Okay. So I had him at 26. So in that time, I was really just the day-to-day.
Right.
But I was still being asked those same questions. I was still a teacher in the jobs that I had. And so somewhere between teaching and strategy is where I have always landed. And then I took a role as an insurance adjuster. And then I became a trainer as an insurance adjuster.
Always teaching.
I came to Atlanta on a 30-day assignment that turned into 4 years.
Wow.
And in that time, I was just continuing to build my consulting business, which was Character Rewired at the time, all about personal development.
Okay.
And it transitioned into Business Rewired because that's what people were asking for.
So when did Character Rewired start? Before you moved to Atlanta, right? Okay, yeah. So you started something in between then. You became a mother in between then. What was balancing it like then, opposed to now? Because I wouldn't say have it all figured out, but on the outside, you got it figured out, and you got your 2 sons now, and you're doing this. But at the beginning, what was that like? Having Character Rewired. Tell me what that means, also. But having that and just balancing motherhood then, and then having that and making the move. You were going on assignment. Were you scared to make that move? Uproot your family, just tell me all about that, because sometimes people think it's easy. They think, oh, she was here and she's a mom and she's helping people with their business. But, I can imagine being 26 and taking 2 children or having to be responsible for 2 children myself. I'm 32 and myself is a lot. You know what I mean? So I would love to hear your story.
Yeah. So during that time, I was just trying business out, right? Because while yes, I was great at strategy. I didn't know what it was to actually build a business.
Right.
That's a whole different ball game if you're not sure.
Yeah.
You
Talk
can
about
be
it.
great at all of the things, and you can be as creative as you want. Building a business requires you to become someone that you probably didn't even realize, and it requires an amount of faith that just you have to be oblivious and you have to be
delusional.
Absolutely delusional, right? So in that time, I decided that I was going to just shake things up, do some new things. I had gotten divorced around that time as well. And so going into being an insurance adjuster, it was really one of those belief things. So this is where character rewired comes from.
Okay.
Stick with me. So going as an independent insurance adjuster versus being in insurance, you're basically an entrepreneur. You're reaching out to different companies, letting them know you have a license, and seeing what assignment they send you on. Great money at the time.
Right.
Great money. You're easily making anywhere between $2,000 and $5,000 a week.
Okay.
Yeah, great. And so in that time, I'm building up my reputation as an insurance adjuster, getting different licenses under my belt. It's the day-to-day. It's absolutely not music, not what I love to do.
Right.
But it was paying the bills, and I had it all. And when I say I had it all, I had the house, the cars, I had the husband, we had the dogs, we had the whole nine, and it wasn't anything that I thought it would look like. It was a great time. It was wonderful. I appreciate that moment in life that God blessed me with.
Right.
But it didn't look like, what we see on TV.
Right.
And so I felt like I needed to change things up. I needed to take a leap of faith and go out as an independent adjuster. You hear the money is great. You don't believe it till you actually step into it. That happens with just about everything in life. And this is going to be funny, so I can't wait to hear my mom's reaction.
Okay.
So my very, very first assignment was in Maryland. And my aunt actually helped me with the money for a hotel room.
Okay.
And then my mother came out with me. She stayed with me for, I want to say like 2 months, just to be there with the boys, help, get settled in, transition in. That assignment lasted all of maybe 6 months or so. My mom ended up coming back home. And so when I was getting ready to come to the Atlanta assignment, the Maryland assignment ended, and in like 2 weeks, I had the assignment to be here. Now, I didn't know what it was to have that kind of money then.
Right.
So, I spent.
Hey, we was outside with it.
Right. And I'm not a frivolous person.
Right.
I can't tell you where the money went, but it was gone.
Yeah.
So, I'm taking this assignment, and I'm like, I have to get to Atlanta from Texas. What am I going to do? I slept for 2 weeks in my car. This is where I said my mom's going to laugh.
Oh, gosh.
I slept for 2 weeks in my car. I drove, of course, 5 states. I slept for 2 weeks in the car. And I was like, hey, I'm going to go to Planet Fitness and take my nice little shower. And I'm going to get up and go to work. And everybody else I see is there. They're spending $2,000-$3,000 a week on hotels.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I'm not doing this.
I'm not going to do it. So eventually I got close enough with one of my other independent adjuster friends, and we just got a hotel together. So we started splitting it. The best part about that is that it gave me the peace of mind to not only save money, but to also be able to start building my business because I wasn't having to worry about money.
Right.
And that's one of the biggest things that we come across now. Most people won't start your business because, like, who's about to pay this rent?
I'm telling you.
You have to find a way.
Yes.
You have to find a way. If God has called you to do something, you have to step into it fully. If that means sleeping in the car.
Yes.
If that means getting a roommate. If it means changing everything you know about what things are supposed to be. You got to do it.
I just love that by any means necessary. When you said that, that's the first thing that popped in my head because you got to do what you got to do. And my dad always says, struggle builds character. He always says that. And then I was thinking about character rewired, like all in my mind while you're saying that. Dang, I guess struggle does build character, and figuratively and literally, because character rewired was in motion then. And so, and that's what it was built on, obviously, So that's a blessing to hear, because, like, again, everyone think it's just so easy and like it's cookie cutter. And I'm gonna move here and it's gonna be good. But no, before I had my own, yes, I had a roommate, and yes, I was on my cousin's couch, and yes, I was with my homegirl that we were in the program together, and we got, you know what I mean? Yep. But baby steps, you gotta crawl before you can walk. So that's a blessing to hear, So when did you know that this is, like, when did you find the value in what you have to offer, and no longer, play small with your knowledge and your skill, because obviously it was a need. Yeah. So when did it go from, I'm just helping my homegirl start her sustainable business and get it going, to, no, I need to charge whoever, you know what I mean? Because this is valuable information, I would love to know that, because I feel like a lot of, sorry to cut you off, but business owners and entrepreneurs, people that provide a skill that is, it's not really whatever skill, they have a hard time, putting the dollar amount to it. You know what I mean? So I just want to know, like, when did you do that? Because to me, that's when you decided to walk bold in it. Like, hey, no, this is what God called me to do. Right. And I'm obviously good at it. So it's what it is, Let me know.
So that was a long way away. It was helping people out, being behind major names, major brands, and coming to the realization that I'm helping put a lot of different people on the map. And I'm not, right? So you can make all the money that you want behind the scenes, but until you really step out in front, you don't see the fruits of your labor. And so when I started realizing everybody's calling me, my name is in rooms that I'm not in. And I'm like, how did I just build this massive multi-million-dollar empire for them? And I'm over here like, okay, guys, so the rent is
yeah. I gotta sit aside. This
carry the one.
Oh my God. Okay. Talk about it. Okay.
Right. And even my percentage of what I would get for helping them was like, okay, so now the car is paid. Mm-hmm. And I got to the point to where I said, you know what, I really have to build for me. And that took a really long time. Yeah. Where I thought character rewired was the nucleus of it all. Mm-hmm. It transitioned into CEO rewired, because I needed to start being the boss of me. Mm-hmm. I needed to start taking myself more seriously and really putting my own offers out there. Mm-hmm. So any room that I'm in, okay, cool. Thank you for allowing me in this room. Now I'm going to talk about my offer, and not in a disrespectful way, but I needed to start putting my name out there as well. Mm-hmm. And I think that people around you who truly want to see you win, when they start seeing you really step into who you are, they're going to bring you along for the ride. Yeah. Because you're an addition to, you're not just the help in the room, you're bringing true value to a situation. And so that's where it was like, okay, cool. We're about to start charging. We're going to get to it. We're going to take action. But I realized that it wasn't so much me seeing my value. It was having the confidence to know that my steps were ordered. Okay. That's so good. I say this to my clients most of the time, especially those who are afraid to price. It doesn't mean you got to charge $10,000 for every offer, but at the end of the day, regardless of what you believe, I tell you what I believe. But at the end of the day, if God comes to say, "Hey, here's the talent that I gave you. What did you do with it?" Okay, well, you gave me this, and I let them have it for free, but I did charge them $50, and I did charge them $250. If God was to come back with the question and say, okay, well, I gave you that for you to make a way for yourself. You sitting here asking me for rent, and you gave the talent that I gave you for $50.
That's so good when you put it like that, You know why that's so good to me too? I was interviewing another woman that's winning, and she said she believes that her purpose brings her profit. You know, and when she said that, I was like, you know what? I love that because a lot of people won't say that. But when you put it in the perspective that you just did, like God gave you this, and then when He come back, now you coming to Him because you short on your rent and you short on this and that. You know what I mean? But you done gave so and so this and so this. Now you don't have, and so it's again people saying you can't pour from an empty cup. Like all of that is examples of that. You know what I mean? So I just love that you said that so much. Before I get on to other people, what were some of your common mistakes that you started or learned from when you were starting your business that made you say, you know what, somebody got to get a grip on this and put other people on game, because, would you share that with us? What is something that you learned in starting a business that when you realized, like, okay, people need to be helped, what was harder than you imagined it would be when you started?
Well, this is the birth of Business Rewired because I'm sure like many of you out there looking up every course. I'm going to every conference.
Right.
I'm just putting money into every do-it-yourself thing, investing in coaches that I didn't actually check to see do they have receipts. And so I'm just out there fishing for anything. And I realized that there are just a few simple principles, a few simple things that allow you to see the road a bit more clearly. So the confidence, again, to step into that, to move forward in what you know is right and what you feel is the right thing for you to do next is absolutely it. Because if you were called to it, you're going to have the steps ordered for it, right? So when I see entrepreneurs right now, after the confidence, it's making all the essential decisions. If you will just go through, make your essential decisions first, not analysis paralysis, but make your essential decisions first. Okay. What's the offer? What's the price of the offer? How many times are you calling people a week? What are the touch points? Are you sending emails? Make all of these decisions before you go build, and I promise you, you will actually build something. Because the thing that I'm sure that has stopped most people is you get to this stopping point and it's like, oh, I need a website. I didn't realize I needed a website. Right. And 6 months later, you still don't have a website, and you're looking for somebody on one of these platforms to try to build you a website. If you had all that worked out in the beginning and you knew what you needed to do next, you'd be okay. And many times we don't give ourselves credit for knowing what we need. I have countless customers, and if you're doing your job right, as a coach, I have countless customers that have said, dang, I knew that. In some of the spaces. Now, they needed the strategy and all of that. Right. But they're like, dang, I felt that. Dang, I knew that. You didn't act on it.
Didn't act on it, right? Didn't act on it. Action, ladies and gentlemen. Action. That's what we're moving with in this season, right? So talk about Business Rewired and what that is, what that looks like, what do you offer in that, just give us the rundown on Business Rewired.
So Business Rewired is based off of 4 principles. And those are God-given principles. I couldn't have come up with them if I wanted to, but they fit every area of life. Right. I have yet to see any area that it doesn't fit. And so the first principle is the ability to self-assess. And that can be true self-assessment, or it could just be analysis in general. So the ability to assess. Then there's the ability to effectively communicate whatever you're communicating. If it's that you're communicating to your children, you're communicating to your boss, you're communicating to your spouse, you're communicating to your customers. And then the ability to forecast what comes next, what happens if I do this. And then the ability to be consistent in change. That one there is the most important principle for you as a person, for you as a business owner. Being able to be truly consistent in all of the changes that are absolutely going to come is essential. And so I base my programs around that. So Business Rewired is built off of, okay, how do I help you strategically from that perspective? So I have the Business Rewired University. There's 3 tiers to that. But in the university, it's literally helping you from the initial offer, getting the business stuff together, all the way through the actual launching of it. Then for those who are in business, you're working, you're doing your thing, but you're ready to go to that next level,
right.
I have Business Operations Rewired.
Okay.
So I come in behind the scenes, put you a strategic roadmap together, or if you hire me to actually come in the business and do the things, then I come in, help your team out, and I help you get your business-ish together.
I love that. Speaking of getting it together, I wasn't going to this next, but that was perfect. I was stalking your Instagram, and I seen that you actually have a book coming out soon, and it is CEO Rewired. Entrepreneur, get your ish together. So I just want to talk about that. What was the inspiration behind that book? Just give us the inside scoop on that, okay?
Yes. So CEO Rewired, that's my baby. I've been working on that book for a few years now.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I love that.
And it is based on those principles to start. And then you really get into stepping into CEO energy, making the decisions that you need to really make in order to flourish and grow in your business, but also becoming, again, who you need to be. Looking at things from a lens that's like, this is what it really is, and this is what it really is.
Right. Just lay it on me. Give it to me. That's what it is.
Right? And it is also a strategic roadmap. There's a workbook included inside of it. So you really get to work through and take action. You don't use that word.
I love it. Yes, it's the word of the week. Get into it.
So really be able to take action. I'm an avid book reader, and I'm not a big fan of writing in my books. So I'm always writing down. I write notes after notes after notes, and I know many people who have 1,000 spirals full of things that they haven't actually taken action on. And so the book is to help really guide you through taking the necessary steps, assessing, communicating, forecasting, and then what you can do to truly be consistent in all of the changes. Because what your business looks like when you first get started will look totally different once you're hitting 5,000, 10,000 a month, and then 10,000 days, 20,000 days.
And that makes a difference. And that's okay. I think it's okay for people to rebrand. That's something that I've come to realize over the years. Like, it's okay to pivot and rebrand if you need to. So I seen this on your website also, and I just want to hear it more from you, who is a business strategist and a personal development strategist and a leader. It's just been in you, obviously, and we talk about this all the time. Before we get to where we are walking boldly in who God has called us to be, I always feel like there's always been like little nuggets along the way. So you've always been a leader, though. You've always been a teacher, obviously, is what I'm hearing from you sharing your story. So first of all, what is strategy? What is that?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, man. Strategy.
And why is it important? You know what I mean? Like, what is that in particular? And why is strategy necessary in a business and building a business? I'd like to hear that from you.
Yes. So strategy is everything opposite of fighting fires.
Okay. Listen, that sounds peaceful.
Right.
Get some strategy in your life.
Right. Strategy is you really taking the time to sit down, see something for what it is, and say, okay, these are the steps that make the most sense, and here are the steps that are completely outside what makes sense, but it's what I'm being told to do. And you have to find the balance between, do I take the steps that make sense, or do I take the steps that are bold? Chances are the bold steps that have you running through the brick wall are the ones that are going to get you there.
Okay.
But we all know, you've heard the term, when you're on fire, you stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if in your business, everything's going, you can stop, drop, and roll, right? You can strategically be on the ground, on fire, burning, and rolling. Okay? Follow me here.
I like it. Go somewhere, girl. I'm following you. I like what you just said.
Follow me here. You can be on the ground. You can be rolling. You can still be on fire, but you're strategically putting the fire out.
Right? You're rolling for fun.
Right. You're not rolling for fun. You're strategically putting the fire out. And so you take that same concept into your business. If all you're doing is fighting fires all day, number one, you never ran into the fire. You couldn't have. And without you actually going through it and being in the fire, there's nothing I can tell you about business other than do it, other than take the first step. Try something. And then while you're on fire, you gonna figure it out.
And you said try something. I love that because after a while the trying turns into doing. Yes. And I hear that here all the time. People, I'll be like, I'm trying, and they're like, stop saying that. You doing. So the try turns into doing. So I've never heard that broken down. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, she is the business strategist. Okay, because I love that. And that makes sense. And it brings me into what I want to say now. The 3 entrepreneurial roadblocks that keep your wheels spinning. And one of them I remember was firefighting, I believe, right?
Yes.
So what was the first 2? And then just break those down a little bit. What does that mean? The 3 entrepreneurial roadblocks that keep you spinning your wheels. And what are those and what does that mean?
Yes. So you'll see a different version of this on my website. Firefighting is definitely one of them. If you're consistently fighting fires, you will not have consistent profit because you're spending so much time trying to get things right in the business, things that are either crashing or things that you haven't built. So you're going to have inconsistent profit every single time. And really, that's the one that makes the most, that's the one people really care about, having inconsistent profits.
Yeah.
So those roadblocks, it's really you stopping yourself. That's the first one. The inconsistent profits come from you stopping yourself. Oh, I wanted to be on this podcast and I didn't. I wanted to go to that networking event and I didn't. I wanted to, I should have. Everything that you stopped yourself from doing, you stopped your profit.
Didn't take action.
And behind the scenes, you're building funnels, you're putting other websites together, you're building new offers. You have 7 new offers and haven't launched one. You have all of these different things that you're doing and you're putting out fires for things that aren't even bringing you money.
Yeah.
So that's
what it is in a nutshell.
Those are the roadblocks. You're stopping yourself. And if you don't have a strategic roadmap, so I mentioned the fire story, eventually a firefighter is going to coach you in putting the fire out. They're not going to spray you with the hose.
Yeah.
You want someone to come and save you with the hose instead of being coached through getting the fire put out. So that's where you get yourself a business coach.
I love that. So how, if someone is tuned into this and they say, you know what? Everything that Shatora said today resonated with me. She knows, obviously, guys, what she's talking about, which I love, because I can hear, I'm like, okay, she knows what she's talking about, listen, it makes sense, so if someone is listening to you and it makes sense for them also, how can they stay in contact with you? How can they stay connected with you? What services do you offer? From, I hate saying the horse's mouth because I'm not calling you a horse, but it's a term, hearing it from the source. Okay. Just tell us, what you offer, where they stay connected with you, and then tie that into when is your book launching. If you know right now, just please share us here, Talk It Out exclusive, and how can we get that as well?
Absolutely. And it is an absolute exclusive here. Yes, I have not put it out there yet, but I'm Shatora Ladorne on all platforms. You can find me LinkedIn, TikTok, all of the Instagram mostly. And Business Rewired has many layers depending on where you are. The goal is to meet you where you are. So the Business Rewired University, again, for those who are really just trying to take those first steps, we have some DIY, but a coach is what gets you through. That's just the name of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, for those of you that need some deeper strategy, you're in there, you've built the business, now you need to fix some things.
Yeah.
I've got you. But CEO Rewired, Entrepreneur, Get Your Ish Together will be released in June of this year. So excited. Right now you can grab chapter 1.
Okay.
The link hopefully will be in the description.
I can. Mm-hmm.
But you can grab chapter 1 for absolutely free. Free download, and you can pre-order the book on sale.
I love that for you. Just a few more questions for a person who is the business strategist. Is there anything that you still maybe even struggle with or even figuring out being a person that has 15 years of experience, and if so, like what are those things if you're willing to share, and how does the business strategist herself find, her way out of these struggles? I'm curious to know.
Yeah. All the time. If you're doing things right, every time you solve a problem, it creates 10 more.
Okay.
So you walk yourself through those. If you use my framework, that's the Rewired framework, assess it,
okay,
communicate whatever you need to communicate, forecast what happens if you don't,
love it,
and then stay consistent through the changes. Where people need you to be consistent in your business. I actually just did a rebrand myself. You'll notice that my colors have changed. The vibe has changed, but I am still very consistent. You know what you're going to get when you come to me. So the struggles never end. If they do, you're probably not growing in business.
Okay, that's good. So y'all take that and be motivated, okay? The struggles never end, and if they are, you're probably stagnant.
Absolutely.
And not growing in your business.
Absolutely.
I love that. Congratulations on everything that you're doing, getting ready to do, the connections and the tribe that God is sending you. I'm excited because I know He's sending me mine. So He sent me you, So I just love this for us in the season that we're in. Is there anything else last minute that you'd like to share with the audience? Again, just go ahead and repeat where they can follow you. I know you already said it, but just, and then anything else that you'd like to share with people before I make my last announcement.
Absolutely. Shatora Ladorne.
Time out. I was going to say,
yes.
Aren't you going to be somewhere soon?
Yes.
You're going to be somewhere soon. Yeah.
Yes.
So let's talk about there. Where, we know where we can follow her because she already said it. And she's going to say it again.
Yes.
But you're going to be at a conference soon.
Yes.
Right? And I would like you to mention that. And I'm sorry, y'all. We got to say it. Okay. And before we mention it, because it's a mom boss type of conference, right?
Yeah.
What do you hope that you're teaching? April Fools. You see what I did there? What do you hope that you're even teaching your sons just by them watching you in this space? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We talk about building legacy, and we always talk about generational wealth and stuff like that. So what do you hope that you are teaching your sons, or what they're getting from this, just watching mom walk in her purpose and do what she's been called to do?
Oh, man. So teaching my boys, it's a prayer of mine and has been a prayer of mine since they were both born, is that I'm able to show them exactly what pursuing truly looks like in all areas. And being able to truly be here and be fruitful and exude that, show what that truly means. Because we see it all the time. People get comfortable with life, you get stagnant, and you find yourself at 40 saying, okay, what did I do?
Right.
Oh, now I want to go try something new. Right? So I really just look forward to being the example for them. And aside from being the example for them, being the way that they can just go try anything. Go try everything.
Right.
And I will be at the Mamapreneur.
Mamapreneur one time.
Mamapreneur Awards.
Okay.
Shout out to the Sister Shop ATL for the nominations that came from everyone.
Yes,
thank you all so much for the votes. Thank you so much. We'll find out this weekend who the winner is. Congratulations in advance to the winner as well.
That's what's up.
But aside from that, at Shatora Ladorne on all platforms.
Thank you once again, Ms. Shatora. It was a pleasure meeting you, tapping into just what you do and the gifts that you have. And I just can't wait to witness more.
Thank you so much.
Everyone, Thank you so much. Everyone tuned in. Make sure you just follow Ladies in Motion on all platforms. This weekend is a lot going down, but I definitely want to give a shout out. So next month, we kicked it off with you. We're going to be shining light on mom bosses actually all month long. And I'm honored to have kicked it off with you. But we have Coach Liam and Chef Liam and Coach Tanyelle that are going to be featured on the show. But they also have a free wellness event going down this weekend, y'all. It's going to be May 3rd. The doors open at 8:15 at the Lenox Square Mall. And they're going to give a complimentary workout. They have pressed lime juice, mental health talk. It's going to be very good. But you can know more about this event at yourwellnessunleashed.com. And just stay tuned for more Women That's Winning, Queen in a city near you. Bye.